In 2009, the Times reported on Military Observation Point Rock in the Helmand province of Afghanistan, stating that, according to the American soldiers of the 2nd Battalion 8th Marines, it is incredibly haunted. In fact, the rock was reputed to be so paranormally active that it was commonly known as the Haunted Observation Point. According to the war correspondent who reported on the happenings, the story began when Marines stationed at the rock reported finding a bone in a shallow trench, a bone that had clearly once been a part of a human leg. This grisly discovery was followed by the unearthing of many other human bones. Soldiers reburied most of them, but then found bodies. Multiple graves were uncovered. In one of them, there was even said to be a skeleton still wearing a pair of glasses. In the aftermath of these unexpected discoveries, many peculiar paranormal happenings are said to have been experienced, and so, in an attempt to abate the spirits that were thought to be connected to the remains, the Marines reburied what they had found. When Marines from the battalion's Golf Company were reassigned, they told their successors from Fox Company to be wary. As Sergeant Josh Brown explained to the new soldiers, the local people say this is a cursed place. Aside from the bones and the paranormal happenings connected to them, Brown emphasized other inexplicable occurrences that he had experienced during his time at the Rock. With certainty, he told the new soldiers that they would see weird lights up here at night. And Brown was not alone. Other soldiers in the outgoing unit are reported as having said, "It is weird what you hear and don't hear at the Rock." Aside from strange sights and strange sounds, there were also strange smells. According to Corporal Herrera, the observation point often smelled like something was dying. And so paranormal happenings were widely experienced and reported by soldiers at the Rock. One such personal testimony related by Corporal Jacob Lima describes how he was woken up one night by the sound of screaming. Another corporal called Zolik was yelling and begging for him to accompany him to the firing point he was guarding. Concerned, Lima followed him there and was told by Zolik that he had heard a voice whisper something in his ear that sounded like Russian. There was, however, no one there, least of all Russians. Another soldier called Dutch Perkins also reported hearing strange whispers in his ear that sounded like Russian, whilst he stood guard from midnight to dawn. He described the sound as faint at first, after which it escalated to the point where it felt as though someone was standing post with him. Eerily, it is thought that Soviet soldiers were executed at the site when they were at war with Afghanistan in the 1980s. The hill on which the observation point sits has a strange history that is not entirely understood, even long before the arrival of Soviet soldiers. Before the Rock was occupied by US forces, Marines deployed demolition charges, believing it to be an enemy defensive position. Before doing so, Lance Corporal Brendan Kelly discovered a series of mysterious underground tunnels under the site. These tunnels led to a strange single chamber. Some have theorized that this chamber was once an ancient tomb, yet no one knows the full history of the location. And yet, with its medieval arrow slits and fortified turrets, it is clear that the Rock used to serve as a mud fort. Locals even believe that the site dates back to the time of Alexander the Great, with Lance Corporal Austin Hoyt, who was stationed at the Rock, having attested that if you stick a shovel in anywhere, you'll find bones and bits of pottery. Many people have perished at the site throughout its long history, many people who are thought to have stayed after death. And so, because of its strong connection with the afterlife, locals believe the Rock and its surroundings are imbued with a mystical energy and may even be cursed. To do anything there is to risk supernatural consequence. One particularly dramatic incident in its history is said to have occurred in the 1980s, when a supposed miracle took place during a battle against the Soviets. One longtime resident of the area describes how several tanks went into the earth and disappeared. Others were simply abandoned in the aftermath of the battle. Years later, these tanks could still be seen untouched. Local residents were simply too fearful to approach them, the area being too heavy, too haunted, and too full of dead bodies. Since the occupation by US forces and the subsequent unearthing of more human remains, the paranormal phenomena only intensified, with each successive military unit stationed at the Rock reporting paranormal happenings. A unit of the Welsh Guards, a regiment of the British Army, also reported strange phenomena when they were stationed there. Apparently, these soldiers reported seeing a lot of unexplained lights through night vision goggles. Some believed them to have been caused by spirits of the dead. And with death and war having plagued the area for centuries, it is perhaps unsurprising that these troubled souls would linger beyond the grave.